You betrayed me.
Please let me explain. I'm sorry.
When this is over, you will pay for this. Excellent. You've just destroyed your own marriage.
Forgive me.
You betrayed me. The words barely escaped Jae-hyun Seo's lips, but every person inside the abandoned shipping warehouse heard them. Rain hammered against the rusted metal roof. More than 30 armed men stood frozen, fingers resting on their triggers, afraid to breathe. Jae-hyun didn't look at the rival syndicate surrounding him. He looked only at his wife, Zuri Bennett Seo, the woman he had loved more fiercely than his own life, the woman who had promised that no matter how dark his world became, she would never leave his side. Now she stood only a few feet away, beside his greatest enemy. His sharp eyes dropped to the black flash drive resting in her trembling hand. It contained everything: the locations of his safe houses, his financial network, the identities of trusted allies, years of work, placed into the hands of the man who wanted him dead. Jae-hyun searched her face, silently begging to find some explanation, some sign that this was all a mistake. Instead, Zuri slowly extended her hand. The rival Mafia boss smiled as he accepted the flash drive. Several of Jae-hyun's men cursed under their breath. Others raised their rifles at her. Hyun-woo Park took one furious step forward. "Boss, let me kill her." Jae-hyun lifted one hand. Everyone froze. His jaw clenched so tightly that a vein pulsed along his temple. His voice, when it came, was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that frightened everyone who knew him. "I built an empire." He took one slow step toward her. "I fought enemies." Another step. "I buried brothers." Another. "I survived betrayals." He stopped just inches from her, but never. His eyes locked onto hers. "From you." Tears flooded Zuri's eyes. She opened her mouth. "Jae-hyun, please. Don't." His voice sliced through hers. "If you speak now, you'll only make this worse." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I'm sorry." Those two words shattered whatever hope remained inside him. He slowly removed the wedding ring from his finger. For several seconds, he simply stared at it. Then he dropped it onto the cold concrete floor. The metallic sound echoed through the warehouse. "So," he looked directly into her eyes, "you chose them." She couldn't answer, not because she didn't want to, because she couldn't. The truth would get innocent people killed. Jae-hyun took one final step backward. His face became unreadable. "When this is over, you will pay for this." Without another word, he turned around. His men followed him in stunned silence. Not one of them looked back at Zuri. She stood there alone, watching the love of her life walk away. Only after he disappeared into the rain did her legs finally give out. She collapsed onto the cold warehouse floor, covering her mouth to stop herself from screaming. The rival Mafia boss looked down at her with a satisfied smile. "Excellent. You've just destroyed your own marriage." 3 months earlier, sunlight poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Seo estate as laughter echoed from the kitchen. Jae-hyun stood behind Zuri with his sleeves rolled up, trying, failing, to tie the apron strings around his waist. She laughed so hard she had to lean against the counter. "The great Jae-hyun Seo can dismantle an international crime syndicate, but he can't tie an apron? I have people for that." "Oh, really?" She turned around and tied it for him. "There." He smiled, the kind of smile the underworld never saw. "If Hyun-woo walked in right now, I'd have to fire him." "For what?" "For witnessing this." She burst into laughter again before poking his chest. "You care too much about your reputation. My reputation keeps people alive." "And what keeps you alive?" He looked into her eyes. "You." The smile on her face softened. "You always know the right thing to say." "No." He gently tucked a loose curl behind her ear. "I only tell you the truth." The front door suddenly opened. "Boss!" Hyun-woo's voice echoed through the hallway. His expression was tense. Jae-hyun sighed. "Speak." "We have a situation." Minutes later, the warmth of the kitchen was replaced by the cold atmosphere of Jae-hyun's private office. Hyun-woo placed several photographs across the desk. Our warehouse in Busan was raided at exactly 3 this morning. Jae-hyun studied the pictures. Losses, almost everything. Casualties, 2 injured, 1 missing. And the police? They knew exactly where to go. Silence settled over the room. Jae-hyun leaned back. This is the 3rd raid in 6 weeks. Hyun-woo nodded. Someone is leaking our operations. Any suspects? We're investigating everyone. Jae-hyun's expression hardened. Good. Hyun-woo hesitated. The men are getting nervous. They should be. If the leak isn't stopped soon, there'll be a war. Jae-hyun stood and walked toward the window overlooking the estate. No, his voice was firm. There already is. Outside the office, Zuri paused after hearing the last sentence. She hated seeing him carry the weight of everyone around him. That evening, she found him sitting alone on the terrace, staring into the darkness. She quietly placed a cup of coffee beside him. You've been out here for an hour. I needed to think. She sat beside him. About the leak? He nodded. Whoever it is has been 1 step ahead every time. You'll find them. I've trusted these people with my life, and they've trusted you, which makes this harder. She rested her head on his shoulder. You always tell me fear makes people reckless. He smiled faintly. I do. So don't let fear make you doubt the people who love you. He kissed her forehead. I'll try. Across the street from the estate, a black sedan remained parked beneath the shadows of a tree. Inside, Daniel Reeves lowered a pair of binoculars. They're together. A voice came through the speaker. Happy. Daniel smirked. Very. Good. Min Suk-kwan's voice was smooth and patient. Because happiness makes betrayal hurt even more. The call ended. The next afternoon, Zuri left the estate alone. She had barely reached a quiet cafe when someone slid into the chair across from her. She frowned. I'm sorry. This seat is taken. It isn't anymore. The stranger placed a small brown envelope on the table. Who are you? Someone delivering a message. I don't accept messages from strangers. You'll accept this one. He stood up and disappeared into the crowd before she could stop him. Her heartbeat quickened. Slowly, she opened the envelope. The color drained from her face. Inside were photographs of children from the orphanage where she volunteered every Friday. One photograph had a red circle drawn around the face of a little girl named Lily. Tucked beneath it was a handwritten note. She's beautiful. It would be a shame if she disappeared. Zuri's hands began to shake. Then her phone rang. An unknown number. She answered cautiously. Who is this? A calm voice replied. Mrs. Seo, if you love that little girl, you'll do exactly as you're told. Zuri stood so abruptly that her chair crashed onto the floor. What do you want? We'll discuss that soon. If you touch those children, you'll receive your first instruction tomorrow. The call disconnected. People inside the cafe stared at her, but she didn't notice. She rushed outside, jumped into her car, and drove straight to the orphanage. Lily ran toward her with a bright smile. Miss Zuri. Zuri dropped to her knees and wrapped the little girl tightly in her arms. You okay? Lily asked innocently. Zuri forced a smile as tears filled her eyes. I'm better now. But deep inside, she knew something terrible had just begun, and from a parked vehicle across the street, a hidden camera captured every second of the embrace. Daniel smiled as he lowered the lens. Perfect, he whispered. The trap is set. Zuri barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the photograph with the red circle around Lily's smiling face. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring into the darkness. Beside her, Jae-hyun slept peacefully for the first time in days. She reached out and gently brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. I'm sorry, she whispered. If I tell you, you'll never forgive yourself. She quietly slipped out of bed before sunrise. Her phone vibrated the moment she stepped into the hallway. Unknown number. She answered immediately. What do you want? Drive to the address I just sent. If this is another game, it isn't. I want proof Lily is alive. You'll get your proof when you cooperate. The call ended. She looked back toward the bedroom door. Then she left. An hour later, she entered an abandoned office building on the outskirts of the city. The elevator no longer worked. She climbed 6 flights of stairs before reaching a dusty conference room. A man stood beside the window. His face remained hidden. "You came. I want to see Lily. You asked too many questions. I made one demand." The man tossed a tablet onto the table. The screen lit up. A live video. Lily sat inside a brightly lit room coloring in a children's book. She looked unharmed. Relief washed over Zuri. "She's okay?" "For now." Zuri glared at him. "If one hair on her head..." "You'll listen." The man placed a sealed envelope in front of her. "Inside are tomorrow's instructions. I'm not doing anything that hurts my husband." He laughed. "You don't have a choice." She picked up the envelope without opening it. "If I do what you ask, you'll never see Lily again." "What?" "She'll disappear." Zuri's heart stopped. "You said you'd let her go." "We lied." She slammed both hands onto the table. "You monster." The stranger leaned closer. "No, Mrs. Seo. We're simply making sure you stay motivated." Back at the Seo estate, Jae-hyun walked into the dining room. "Where's my wife?" One of the housekeepers bowed. "Mrs. Seo left before dawn, sir." "Did she say where she was going?" "No." He frowned. "That's unlike her." Hyunwoo entered carrying a file. "We got another problem." Jae-hyun sighed. "Tell me." "A shipment schedule for tonight." "What about it?" "The rival syndicate intercepted it." Jae-hyun's eyes narrowed. "Again?" They knew the exact route. He slammed his fist onto the table. Enough was enough. There has to be someone feeding them everything. Hyunwoo quietly placed several printed documents on the table. "We found something else." Jae-hyun picked them up. His expression slowly changed. "They're bank records." Hyunwoo nodded. "An anonymous account has received several large deposits over the past month." Jae-hyun looked up. "Whose account?" Hyunwoo hesitated. "I checked 3 times before bringing it to you." "Whose account?" "Mrs. Seo's." Silence. The room became unbearably still. Jae-hyun stared at the papers for several long seconds. "No, the account is in her name." "No, the transfers are real." Jae-hyun looked directly into Hyunwoo's eyes. "My wife has never cared about money." "I know." "Then explain this." "I can't." Jae-hyun slowly folded the papers. "There has to be another explanation." "I hope you're right." "So do I." That evening, Zuri returned home just before sunset. She found Jae-hyun standing alone in the garden. "You've been waiting?" "I have." She smiled nervously. "I lost track of time." "Where were you?" Her throat tightened. "Shopping." He nodded slowly. "What did you buy?" The question caught her off guard. She searched for an answer. "A dress." "Where is it?" She froze. "I had it delivered." "When?" "It should arrive tomorrow." He watched her carefully. For the first time since they'd met, she couldn't look him in the eyes. His heart sank. He hated himself for noticing. "I've missed having dinner with you," he said softly. Relief crossed her face. "I'll set the table." As she walked inside, he remained standing in the garden. His instincts had never failed him, but this time he prayed they were wrong. Late that night, Hyunwoo quietly entered Jae-hyun's office. "I did something without your permission." Jae-hyun looked up. "What?" "I had Mrs. Seo followed." The room fell silent. "You what?" "I needed answers." Jae-hyun stood. "I told you never to involve her." "I know." "Then why?" Hyunwoo placed several photographs on the desk. Jae-hyun looked down. Each photograph felt like a knife twisting deeper into his chest. Zuri, meeting the same unidentified man, accepting envelopes, leaving abandoned buildings, looking over her shoulder, acting frightened. Hyunwoo spoke carefully. "I don't think she's meeting him by accident." Jae-hyun's voice became dangerously quiet. "Leave." "Boss." "I said leave." Hyunwoo hesitated before walking out. The moment the door closed, Jae-hyun sat back down. His hands trembled. He picked up one photograph. Zuri looked terrified. Not guilty. Terrified. What are you hiding from me? He whispered. Across town, Daniel walked into Min Suk's office. The husband still refuses to believe it. Min Suk smiled. He threw me out when I suggested she might be involved. That's love. Daniel chuckled. And when love begins to crack? Min Suk raised his glass. It shatters. He slid another envelope across the table. Tomorrow, we move to the next stage. Daniel opened it and grinned. This will destroy them. The following afternoon, Zuri opened her front door. No one was there, only another brown envelope. She immediately looked around the empty street before taking it inside. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a flash drive, a handwritten note. Copy the financial records from your husband's private office. 48 hours, or Lily dies. She staggered backward. No. Tears blurred her vision. I can't. She looked toward Jae-hyun's office upstairs. She had promised never to enter that room without him. Not once in 3 years of marriage had she broken that promise. Her phone rang. You've read the instructions. I won't betray my husband. The voice laughed, then plan a funeral. The line went dead. Zuri collapsed on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Minutes later, she wiped away her tears. Slowly, painfully, she stood. I'll find another way. She refused to believe there wasn't one. That evening, she cooked Jae-hyun's favorite meal. She smiled through dinner, laughed at his jokes, poured him tea. But every smile hit a breaking heart. When he reached across the table and took her hand, she almost confessed everything. Almost. Instead, she squeezed his fingers and whispered, I love you. He smiled warmly. I know. Neither of them realized those 3 words would haunt them before the week was over. Later that night, while Jae-hyun attended an emergency meeting with his captains, Zuri stood outside the door to his private office. The flash drive felt impossibly heavy in her trembling hand. She stared at the fingerprint scanner. If you can hear me, God, she whispered through tears, please forgive me. She slowly reached toward the scanner, unaware that a hidden security camera above the doorway had already captured her standing outside the office. And somewhere else in the city, Jae-hyun's encrypted phone vibrated with a security alert showing a live image of his wife at the one door she had sworn she would never open. Jae-hyun stared at the security alert on his phone. His captains continued discussing shipments and territories, but their voices faded into silence. All he could see was a live image. Zuri, standing outside his private office. She looked around nervously before pressing her trembling thumb against the fingerprint scanner. The door unlocked. His heart sank. Without another word, he stood. Boss! Hyun-woo called after him. Jae-hyun didn't answer. He walked out of the meeting, climbed into his SUV, and sped toward the estate. By the time he arrived, Zuri had already left the office. She stood in the living room, clutching a small handbag against her chest. Their eyes met. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Jae-hyun asked quietly, Were you in my office? The color drained from her face. Yes. Why? She looked away. I can't tell you. His chest tightened. You've never lied to me before. Tears welled in her eyes. I know. Then tell me. I can't. His voice grew colder. Did you take something? She closed her eyes. Yes. The room fell silent. He took one slow step toward her. What did you take? I'm sorry. Answer me. She reached into her handbag with shaking hands and pulled out the flash drive. I had no choice. He stared at it in disbelief. You stole from me. Her tears spilled freely. I never wanted to. He extended his hand. Give it to me? She did. He turned it over in his fingers before slipping it into his pocket. Who are you working for? No one. Don't lie to me. I'm not. Then why? She opened her mouth. No words came, because every answer would put Lily in danger. He looked at her for what felt like an eternity. Then he quietly walked past her. That silence hurt far more than shouting ever could. The next morning, Hyun-woo burst into Jae-hyun's office. Boss! What now? The flash drive. What about it? It was copied. Jae-hyun slowly looked up. What? Our cyber team confirmed someone duplicated every file. His jaw tightened. When? Last night. He closed his eyes. So it wasn't just theft. Hyunwoo hesitated. We tracked the copied files. Where? They're headed to Min-suk Kwan. Every man in the room fell silent. One captain slammed his fist onto the table. I knew she was a traitor. Another spat angrily. We should have never trusted an outsider. Hyunwoo looked toward Jae-hyun. Give the order. No one moved. Jae-hyun finally spoke. Find her. Hours later, the abandoned warehouse stood surrounded by armed men. Rain poured from the dark sky. Min-suk Kwan stood in the center, smiling as Zuri approached him. She held the copied flash drive tightly in both hands. I kept my promise, she said. Did you? He held out his hand. She hesitated. Release Lily. Min-suk laughed. There is no Lily. Her face froze. What? The little girl is perfectly safe. You said. I lied. Tears filled her eyes. You used innocent children. I used your heart. His smile widened. It worked beautifully. Her breathing became uneven. You monster. Oh, don't look so surprised. He stepped closer. You were never important. I only needed one thing. He pointed at the flash drive. She slowly handed it over. Behind her, warehouse doors exploded open. Jae-hyun walked in. His men flooded the building with rifles raised. Silence swallowed the room. Everything happened exactly as he had seen 3 months earlier. You betrayed me. The words barely escaped his lips. The confrontation unfolded exactly as fate had written it. His men raised their guns. Hyunwoo shouted, Boss, let me kill her. Jae-hyun raised one hand. He looked only at Zuri. I built an empire. He stepped closer. I fought enemies. Another step. I buried brothers. Another. I survived betrayals. He stopped before her. But never from you. She whispered, I'm sorry. He removed his wedding ring, dropped it onto the concrete floor. You chose them. She couldn't answer. When this is over, you will pay for this. He turned away just as he reached the warehouse doors. A gunshot rang out, then another, then dozens. Chaos erupted. Min-suk laughed. You really thought I'd let either of you leave alive? His hidden snipers opened fire from the catwalks above. Bullets shattered windows. Men scrambled for cover. Hyunwoo returned fire. Jae-hyun spun around just in time to see Min-suk aiming directly at him. Everything slowed. Without thinking, Zuri threw herself between them. Bang! The bullet struck her shoulder. She collapsed. Zuri! Jae-hyun roared. The warehouse erupted into a war zone. His men overwhelmed Min-suk's guards. Within minutes, bodies covered the concrete floor. Min-suk tried to escape through a side exit. Jae-hyun caught him. You took everything from me. Min-suk smirked through bloodied lips. No, you did. What are you talking about? You never even checked the flash drive. Jae-hyun frowned. Min-suk laughed. Open it. Hyunwoo inserted the drive into a laptop. Everyone crowded around. Instead of syndicate secrets, thousands of files appeared. Bank accounts, secret recordings, photos, transaction histories, bribes, names of corrupt officials, shipping routes, hidden properties. Every crime Min-suk had committed over 20 years. Hyunwoo stared in disbelief. This is evidence against him. Jae-hyun looked toward Zuri, who lay bleeding in his arms. She smiled weakly. I switched it. His heart stopped. What? The one I copied was fake. I knew he'd search it, so I replaced it. Tears rolled down his face. You were never betraying me. She slowly shook her head. I was trying to end this war. He held her trembling hand. Why didn't you tell me? They would have killed innocent children. They made me choose. And I chose you. His composure finally broke. The feared Mafia boss, who had never cried in front of another man, fell to his knees, holding his wife as tears streamed down his face. I'm sorry, he whispered over and over. I'm so sorry. Zuri reached up and gently touched his face. I knew. One day, you'd know the truth. Sirens echoed in the distance. The evidence on the flash drive was more than enough to destroy Min-suk's criminal empire. Even the corrupt officials who had protected him would have nowhere left to hide. Weeks later, Zuri stood on the balcony of the Seo estate, her arm still in a sling. Jae-hyun walked toward her. Without saying a word, he took her left hand. He slid the same wedding ring back onto her finger. This belongs here. She smiled through tears. I thought I'd lost you forever. You almost did. He kissed her forehead. And I almost lost the only person who never stopped fighting for me. Hyun-woo stepped outside and lowered his head. Mrs. Seo. She looked at him. I'm sorry. I judged you. I wanted you dead. I'll regret that for the rest of my life. Zuri smiled gently. The truth has a way of arriving, even if it's late. Jae-hyun wrapped an arm around her shoulders as they watched the sunrise together. For the first time in months, there were no secrets between them. No lies. No fear. Only love that had survived the greatest test either of them could have imagined. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another unforgettable story. And tell us in the comments, at what moment did you realize Zuri wasn't really the traitor? Your answer might be completely different from someone else's, and we'd love to read it.